Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Mike Babcock here. Obviously, this man doesn't need any introduction. I'll do it anyway, though. Former UFC superstar, still one of the most popular dudes in the entire world. Just look at the pop he got at UFC 291. Now, also CEO of Gamebred Promotions. You're absolutely killing it. You've got two former UFC heavyweight champions about to fight each other in Verdum and Junior Dos Santos. We're going to get into that in just a minute, Jorge. Talk to me first, though, about UFC 291. You were in the building there. I know main event didn't necessarily go the way you wanted to. You and Dustin obviously been boys for a long time. Sort of begrudgingly put that belt around Justin Gaethje's waist.
No grudge, but just obviously I would have rather it been on Dustin, but I'm a fan of the sport at the end of the day, and I always believe in may the best man win. Obviously, I got a lot of friends like Dustin and so and so from American Top Team that I'm always cheering for, and I want him to win. But when if another guy is better on that night, there's nothing you could do. You can't hate on it.
What did you think? This belt was obviously made for you and Nate. That fight was, it was such a highly anticipated fight. The fans loved it. They wanted to see it again. What did you think of Justin and Dustin actually fighting for the belt? Did you like it?
I loved it. I think both embody that spirit of give it all, Go out on your shield. Dustin comes to fight every time. It's always kill or be killed. And same thing with Justin.
Yeah.
Now the names got me.
It's hard to talk about.
Yeah. And fuck, since the fight was made, I was very excited for it. And then they put the belt on the line and made it even better, I love it because they both have that spirit that you're gonna compete a lot, and every time you compete, you're going to try to finish the guy out, You're going to try to separate yourself from the pack, and that's what a bad motherfucker is, So I was ecstatic about the fight.
Would you like to see that belt continue to be around and guys fight for it when it makes sense?
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to come back and snatch that belt up real quick, Something like that. But not at 55. They got to come up to 70.
UFC fight?
UFC fight. Not now, but at some point, I think I got to come back,
Who would you want to fight?
Whoever's got the BMF belt. Something like that,
With BMF,
really, I would like to fight Conor because he's such a bitch. I can't stand this dude. But him on the street for free because you'll never fight me in the ring.
I can't let you. That guy, you can't pass up all that money.
That guy would never fight me in the ring. He never mentions my name in a fucking comment or anything. And yet he's pissing hot, taking steroids, as we all know, calling out Dustin and Justin and all that. Shut the fuck up and do the due process, you fucking bitch.
You versus Conor McGregor and BMF could be the biggest fight ever.
But the UFC's scared to make it. For some reason they're like scared to make it every time there's. Well, I think more
What's
so.
The downfall? You're retired now. He's not fighting. I mean,
Conor
seems like such a big win for them.
Conor doesn't want it.
Right.
He's shut it down like 3 or 4 times, and he's told people that I'm too big for him. Yet he's at my weight class 170. It's just weird. I think it's just a personal thing.
He's got to weigh. He's got to weigh 20 pounds more than you right now, right?
And not just that, but he knows that the way that I'd beat him is the way that he wins fights, and the stand up. Fucking punching his teeth and then kicking his ribs, and so I know that it's just not good for his brand. And that's
Do you think it's because if he fights somebody who's going to take him down, he has somewhat of a built-in excuse that, hey, you didn't have the balls to stand up and fight me?
Yeah, and then with me, it's like, what are you going to say if I break your eye orbital, Conor?
Why would he not do it? Even for somebody like Conor McGregor, I mean, say what you want about him, but he's put it on the line. How many times he gets in front of, in his underwear in front of 20,000 people.
But since he's been back, he's been very picky, choosy with his matches, and he took the Dustin fight, though I thought it was a bad one for him. The second one because he thought he could beat Dustin since he beat him the first one, and it didn't work his way. And then he went again with Dustin, it didn't work his way. And then he wanted somebody, not to this channel because he's an entertaining fighter, but what is his record in the UFC, He thought he was going to get an easy dub there. So I just think he's been very picky, choosy since he came back, and I don't fit that criteria for him, of guys that he could run through.
You've said that you feel like you can still fight, but not against the tippy top guy.
Yeah,
you feel like
against the top 5 guys. Yeah.
So you obviously then don't view Conor as being one of those guys. You believe
no,
you can
man,
beat Conor McGregor.
That guy stopped being an athlete like 5-6 years ago. That guy just snorts coke, bro. I'm gonna beat his ass in steroids. I'm gonna beat the fucking shit out of him, bro. He thinks those steroids are gonna help his cardio. It's not. What helps your cardio is getting after it every day, fucking working out no matter what. Steroids don't fucking give you cardio.
No doubt in your mind that you would knock Conor McGregor out.
I'd fucking hurt that guy real bad.
Yeah.
I'd want to torture him, just because I don't I don't like the way he carries himself outside of the thing and how the negative light. He's brought a lot of positive light towards fighting, but a lot of negative as well. So someone just needs to put him in his place. I think it's about that time, bro.
I was going to ask you who should fight next for the BMF, but nothing compared to you and Conor sounds even remotely interesting anymore.
How long we been doing interviews? That bitch won't even respond back. Well, I could say whatever, do whatever. That bitch won't even say nothing back.
So he's probably going to see this now.
Oh, he's going to see this, but enough about this bitch. He don't even fight, bro. He's fighting with his sexuality, bro. Fuck this guy, bro.
Derek Lewis. It looked like he channeled you. It wasn't as slick as yours, but he's like probably 285 pounds.
I thought he broke the record right there on my face. I'm about to give out the BMF
Are you worried?
belt.
Are you worried for like the first 5 seconds of the fight now?
The first 3 seconds, because it happened within 3 seconds. I'm like, holy smokes, the fight's over. And then it lasted 30.
Right.
But it was like one more punch here, there. The formula a little different. He breaks the record, I think, right there. It was fucking nuts.
Right. Were you actually impressed by it? I mean, for a guy that big to...
Oh, hell yeah. The athleticism on it. And Pizarro's my teammate and good friends for many years. So I was very, mixed emotions. But it is what it is. Right. It's a fight game, and he's a very good striker himself. So that he caught him and he has like 40 pro kickboxing matches. Right. So that he caught him with
I think Derek, I looked at the line. I think he was an underdog in the fight, too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So it was just massively impressive. And then it's the last fight on his contract as well. And he's a free agent. Right. And go out like that. Holy smokes, man.
Right. Speaking of that knee, I didn't want you to see this picture before. Ben, what do you think?
Gosh, this world beat.
Ben Askren.
So wait up.
Here's the he said
he has maybe like a 2-pack going on or something, and he has veins in his arms. So while he was competing, he never looked like this. Now that he's not in the USADA testing pool, now he looks like this. At how old is he now? I was going to say, because
I've never seen him look.
He's never, and not that he looks fit, but he looks for himself. This
more
is
than
like
he was, right?
This is like day and night,
Yeah. On the back, there's a quote. He said, "Here, I read it. What he said? He said, I've kept in great shape. Something like no interest in fighting anybody else except the quote loser." Jorge Masvidal.
I mean, listen, if I'm a loser, what the fuck are you, bro? Because it took me 5 seconds. I was done with your ass, bro. So,
Do you think that's a possibility to happen? You and I spoke last time.
No, man. Would I come back from retirement, from running these we got 3 more shows this year. We got 12 shows next year. 1 for every month. So it's like I'm doing something here, If I gotta go into a training camp, I gotta tell investors, I gotta tell my partners, I gotta tell, hey, I'm gonna have to put this to the side. I could still do it, but it won't be my full attention as it is now. I'm in California promoting, traveling, gonna go do the whole car wash here. I probably can't do it to that extent if I'm preparing for a fight, So if I'm gonna come back to fight, it's not gonna be a bum like Ben. I already did that in MMA. And I'm retired from MMA. That's why he's calling me out, because I'm retired from it. Now, if he wants to go into boxing, and just because I think the pun that I can't knee him is so funny, it's hilarious. I can't knee you, bro. So just go into boxing, and fucking, you did it with Jake Paul,
Although he might not want to go through that again.
Yeah, but whose fault is it? Because every fighter in MMA is supposed to learn every discipline. I wasn't the greatest at it, but every day I wrestled. I did my groundwork because I have to. Right. He always came in with the mentality of, no, all I need is wrestling. All I need is wrestling. Well, now look at your bitch ass now. You can't even get a paycheck in boxing. We would have offered you the most money you ever made in your broke ass fucking life, you bum.
Did you actually reach out to him to offer a
we
boxing match?
We had some people that were offering us some deals and offering him some deals, but he's a bitch, And there's some people that wanted to see me box him and grapple. So I'll do it right now, Ben. I'll challenge you to a boxing match, right? And I promise I won't use my right hand. I'll sign like a paper where it just says I'll just use my left hand. Just a good old jab, stick him to death, He doesn't even know how to spell jab, I think. This fucking moron. And then after that, we could do a grappling match.
Wow.
Because I'm retired from MMA, Yeah, I would do that. Because fucking, he ain't shit in the wrestling, I think, either. Like, nowadays, he's so fucked up and butthurt. I think I'd be able to fucking score enough takedowns on him to beat him, like, in a 5-minute period.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be crazy.
I know he's got a hip surgery. I know he's got a hip surgery and stuff, but I think I'm athletic enough that for 5 minutes, I could beat this guy in wrestling, bro. Wow. Especially if there's some money on the line.
There you go. Talk to me about Gamebred promotion. I mean, this is not a small rinky-dink promotion. I mean, you are putting on serious events, not just in America. You're going global now.
Yes,
I mean, you've got big, like real big name fighters, former UFC champions. I mean, you are really doing it. How have you had this? I know it's not easy. How have you done this so quickly? And you're killing it right now. I mean, honestly.
Me and my team right here, because it's not just me. It's a full team effort
Yeah.
for something of this event. You know, same as when I fight, I'd have a striking coach, wrestling coach. It's a team of us to get these events together, and we've been doing them now for about 3 years and change. And that was like the prototype, the blueprint.
Yeah.
We started figuring out what we were gonna do, not do, and we brought it all into this company, Gamebred Bare Knuckle, and thank goodness we had a good track record from what we had done before.
Right.
And now we're able to secure these big fights because we got some people that believe in us behind us, you know. So we have 3 more shows this year. We're gonna go to Jacksonville September 8th, Junior Dos Santos versus Fabricio Verdum. October 27th, we'll be in England at the, how do you say that? Wembley Arena.
Wembley, okay.
I thought it was the other one. It was a Wembley
Is
Arena.
Wembley where you?
No, I fought at the O2.
Oh,
no,
okay.
At the O2
but that was a big moment for your career, right?
It
got to be cool to go back.
In England, huge.
Right?
I love England. England's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Fight towns, whatever you want to call it. They're so educated.
Super into it, right?
Super into it and super educated.
Right. When you watch like an Anthony Joshua fight, and there's like, at least back in the day, and there's like 80,000, 100,000 people.
They're very knowledgeable in their combat sports.
Tell.
Boxing and MMA, they soak this up. Like grappling and stuff, it's still kind of big, but like wrestling, things like that ain't that big over there. But MMA and boxing, it's like all they love over there in soccer, of course. So we're gonna go to October, then we're gonna come back here. We're gonna have a show in December in Denver. And then we'll start next year with a full calendar. We'll have 12 shows.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Is the idea to get big name guys, obviously?
Big name guys is definitely a plan. Up and coming guys is the long term goal. Get the best up and coming guys to go through the sport. Right now, I'm trying to get the best guys that are free agents right now to bring more eyeballs to the league, to this new sport. That it's basically. It's a new sport to an extent because UFC, when it first started, had no rules and it was bare knuckle. Sometime later, they get sophisticated and they have 5-minute rounds, 1-minute break. I can't poke you in the eyeballs. You can't kick me in the jewels. All these rules. And since all those rules have been applied, nobody's taking the gloves off. So we're doing not a completely new sport, but it is kind of like a new sport, you know. So it's amazing. We're getting a lot of positive feedback from the athletes.
Right, and that's the bare knuckle MMA.
Yeah, from the bare knuckle MMA. A lot of the athletes are seeing other athletes come in like Verdum and JDS and Roy Nelson, and everybody's hitting us up now to fight.
Really, they want to do it. They're excited about it.
They've legitimized it even more.
Right.
These guys competing for me. That the league is real, you know. So now we're getting a lot of guys that are like 7-0, 8-0 that are applying, that are reaching out to us like, hey, I want to come fight for your show. So we want to have a good mixture of guys that have been there, done it, the mid-tier, and the young up-and-coming animals, you know?
Wow. And I'm sure at some point you start to just build your own stars then.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How's Dana been? Because you could argue, in my mind, I think there's enough for everybody, and it just builds the sport. But I could see some people looking at it like, oh, it's a competitor to the UFC.
I mean, you know,
it's
the
not
UFC,
how I see it,
the UFC is the UFC.
Right.
UFC is like... Fuck, man, it's bigger than saying NFL. And I'm not trying to diss the NFL, but like the NFL is in America and in England, and then, you know, the UFC is like everywhere in the fucking world. In some places, it's crazier than it is here. Really? Believe it or not. You know, like considerably crazier, you know. I can't walk in some streets because they're so recognizable in some places because all they absorb is combat.
What place did you feel the most love from outside of being in Florida, outside of being in the U.S.?
Okay, this was nuts. And I went to Jordan like last year, and I was just having like some shawarmas at 2 in the morning, and maybe like 60 guys recognized me, but they were like a bachelor party from America.
Oh, how cool was that?
So it was
them?
like nuts. Yeah,
That's amazing.
It was nuts. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Latin American countries too, probably the craziest, you know.
Yeah.
And the fans there go nuts when they see me. Like Mexico's a pretty good reception every time. Yeah.
It's crazy how much the sport. I was watching UFC 1 not too long ago, and you got a dude with one boxing glove on. They're wearing sneakers. Like it was
600-pound guy versus some 180-pound guy. Yeah,
he got kicked in the. He was on the ground. And tooth went flying.
And that's when the sports was at its rawest. Now they added all these rules. So I just thought, what could make it even more raw and be different? We take these gloves off and make it.
Well, this is like the most pure, like what
I think so.
Right? I mean, as a guy who came from street fighting, right? I mean, you don't have gloves on.
Definitely the closest thing to it. You know, that there's time limits and stuff like that, but I actually like that because it can't just be a art form. It has to be entertainment as well. If you don't have time limits, it could get boring. You know,
can't hold somebody on the ground.
Yeah,
for
you can
30
hold
minutes,
some. Yeah. You know, so I like the time limit thing. I like the break. So the fighters, you know, a lot of fighters don't like that. They just want like, oh, let's just do 20 minutes straight or something. But you also have to bring in the entertainment value.
Right.
So I'm just excited, man. And like you said, it's not that we're competition against the UFC, but we are different. We are a niche. I don't know if they see us as competition or not, but we're not trying to compete with them because, like you said, there's so much space for everybody to eat in combat. There's billions of dollars. There's billions of dollars coming in this industry a year. You know, there's enough for everybody to eat. And anyways, more than that, I'm giving away for these fighters to make good money, not just great money. A lot of these guys are making life-changing money. They went from getting 1,000 to all of a sudden getting 5,000 and 5,000, and they're not in the UFC. So their life right there changed. For me personally, that would have been a huge pay jump, you know, back in my day. You know,
changes your life back then.
And the exposure that we get them to, it's great, and that's what I love. That like Kimbo Slice opened up the doors for me, brought me to his backyard, gave me all that exposure. Now I get to do it back. I get to give all the exposure that's on me, all the shine that's on me, all these interviews on these athletes.
Right. I know you probably don't want to go poach guys from the UFC. Derek Lewis, he's a free agent now. Any interest in that, or see what happens?
Like you said, I don't want to. If he's on the contract with the UFC,
I think he said he's a free agent.
But if he's a free agent, are you kidding me? Of course.
You need the knee and everything, you know.
Done. Derek, what's your email, brother? No, yeah, definitely. If Derek's a free agent, I mean, you're talking about, I think, one of the most charismatic dudes, besides from the fighting, but he's so likable, man. He's one of those guys.
The only better than the fight was the post fight.
Always, man. He just always steals the show, man. I think this guy's so beyond marketable, you know. And then he fights like that, you know. He's when he shows up and it's his day, it's always something brutal. I'd love to have Derek on there. Derek versus the winner of Fabricio Verdun Jr. Dos Santos, bare knuckle. What are we talking about here?
Let's go.
Who's not going to watch that?
I will watch.
Who's not going to watch
Take my money.
And we're going to invite Trump to that right now. Trump, if I pull off this fight, please, my brother, you got to go. Please, Mr. President Trump, be an honor, bro.
I'm glad you said that because I was about to end the interview and I wanted to ask you that. He loves President Trump loves fighting. We know that.
Yeah.
He loves you. You're going to get him out there? Next one, Jackson. Right.
September 8th, we've been talking to his team. I don't know if he's going to be available to go, and I have no idea. But for the fictitious Derek Lewis versus the winner of JDS, Fabricio Verdun, he's there.
He's not like that.
Yes, sir.
When do we do BMF 3, Conor McGregor, Jorge Masvidal?
That little bitch would have to be reborn, man. He's not.
It'll be the biggest fight ever.
It'd be the biggest. But me and you have talked when was it? I think Ben Askren, we were talking about it. Yeah. And he's never responded to any of these things. It's just that he knows that once he responds, he has to entertain that. And if the fans are asking for a fight, now you have to first of all, you have to get clean.
Right.
Which I would just sign like a waiver, like, bro, let him fight on whatever he's done. I don't give
you don't care.
Fuck, bro. I'll beat you fucking cheating, doing your steroids. You fucking midget, fuck, but he's not gonna fight me.
Right.
He's not. I would sign the waiver like, look, USADA, you don't even have to be involved in this one. You could sit out. You could test me all you want. Right. But let this little bitch do his thing, bro. You let him fucking do his thing, because I'm not worried about him.
Because he does still talk, but you're right. He doesn't talk about you. I mean, right after Justin won the fight Saturday, he was running his, you know.
He knows what I'll do. I'll break your face, motherfucker.
You got so much going on again. Let me ask you this before you go. I got my notes here. Nate Diaz, Jake Paul, as a guy who's been in there with Nate Diaz. Obviously, we're doing MMA. Jake Paul, Nate, gonna box next weekend, Texas. What do you think? You have a feeling for who wins, or no?
I think a lot of it is up to Nate Diaz. If he's still in the realm of the same Nate Diaz, would just hold too much experience, and if he had that toughness still in him. Mentally, he's always going to be tough, you know, but physically, can he still take those same shots? Right. He's in a new sport. He has a lot of things going against him, you know, in this Jake Paul fight. Yeah. Age is not a friend when you start to get older and older, and especially the career that he's had. Right. He hasn't had, like, the easiest or the slickest of careers. No. So
it's a lot to ask of him to win this.
It's a lot. It's a lot in a way to ask of him, but at the same time, I could see him just walking Jake down and putting Jake in waters that he's never swam, getting him tired. You know, high volume. Maybe he gives away the first 2 rounds because he's like getting the feel out for Jake. And then how many rounds is it? 8 or 10?
I think it's 8.
8?
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing: is Jake gonna get tired in 8 rounds? You know, in the Tyson Fury fight, he had his moments where he looked tired and then he came back. I think if it's the old Nate, he won't give him those moments to come back because Nate is very good at smelling. Oh, you're tired, and then he pushes and pushes and pushes. So if I was gonna bet,
it sounds like it's like a 50-50 fight.
Yeah. I never like to bet against my brothers and sisters of MMA. Especially as they're going into boxing and going in that journey. So I'm gonna bet on Nate, man. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jake did pull it off. If Jake got him, caught him cold because he's not a boxer and he's coming into boxing. If he was able to stop him, I wouldn't be surprised.
Are you surprised? Jake keeps saying that he would take an MMA fight against Nate. And he says he's got like $10 million for him. Are you surprised that? I mean, he says he'd do it. I take him at his word. Are you surprised that Jake would do that?
Maybe Jake is confident enough in his boxing and wrestling that he feels that he can negate all the grappling.
Where's the fight start?
Yeah.
In other words, Nate's not going to take me down.
But I would say in MMA, Nate would be able to handle him rather easy.
You would think so, right?
I think he'd submit him probably in the first round. If that was Nate's intention, I'm going to just submit this guy, that for a fact Jake wouldn't be able to stop, I think, because he hasn't spent that amount of time with a high-level grappler like Nate. And Nate's a good grappler. He's very good when guys are attacking him.
Yeah.
And offensively, he's not the best at takedowns and stuff, but I think he'd be able to get into situations where he'd cause a scramble, end up in Jake's back, and just submit him.
Really?
I would see that happening 8 out of 10 times in MMA if Nate was to go that route. If you wanted to stand and bang with him in MMA, I don't know. It could be. I would give it to Nate still the advantage, but there'd be more risk to reward there than if just Nate grapples him. I think he gets him out of him in the first round.
Anything else you want to say about JDS and Fabricio?
JDS and Fabricio is a hell of a fight. We have quite potentially Roy Nelson versus somebody that I can't say yet that hasn't signed.
Okay.
So the winner of that will be facing JDS or Fabricio Verdum for the heavyweight championship, bare knuckle. I mean, we're bringing guys like Fabricio Verdum, Roy Nelson, JDS. Something that it does too is it legitimizes us and we have a legitimate badass here, bro. The winner of this is a fucking monster, and we're talking about with no gloves, and these guys are professional. It's not in somebody's backyard, and I got some good street fighters. No, I got the cream of the crop. I got champions, to scrap. So, fuck, man. All I can say about that fight is though JDS is my teammate and good friend for a long time, I can't pick in this fight who wins. I'm so divided, man. Verdum is good everywhere. Verdum can kick, can punch, can elbow, can knee, has great submissions. He's great off his back, great endurance, great footwork, great agility. And then JDS is just this fucking powerhouse, bro. They could stop anybody. As he did the first time, he could knock anybody out within a minute,